Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This isn't unschooling. I just wanted to share some of what this looks like as a homeschool mom who is doing unschooling. So unschooling is, obviously I've made a lot of videos about this, but I wanted to, as we're now like kind of deep into learning, like in a more official way, I wanted to share what it looks like. Unschooling is child-led education. So instead of teaching the children what, the same way everyone else is, like in school, this is an education that follows the child's interests. And then we do it that way. So instead of me presenting curriculum that he's not interested in, I wait for him to show interest in something. And then here, let me show this to the friends. Right now we're really into produce, so I got him a squash and a zucchini this morning. And I'll give you a little tour in a minute once we talk. So 2 days ago, he wanted me to buy this app, or buy access to an app on one of his tablets, so I did. And he was learning about the planets, completely self-directed. I've downloaded apps, but I bought this one so he could learn about each planet. Squash. No, go in the kitchen with it. I don't want food in my bed, thank you. Unless I'm eating it. Anyway, so I had a little bit of money left over from the second quarter. I like to leave a little bit in there just for these kinds of situations. And so I bought 3 different things off of Amazon. They should be here today that are hands-on activities for the solar system. So I didn't do a mobile, because I thought the lines would confuse him. So we got stress balls, solar system stress balls. I got a puzzle that you can put the planets in order. It's like a long skinny puzzle. And I think I got magnets, because we're really into magnets. And then last night on the dry erase board, I drew all of the planets in order, and wrote some stuff. Obviously he can't read. Well, maybe he can read, I don't know. So we're going to be exploring planets. We are also exploring fruits and vegetables, like hella, which is getting really expensive. But he's, taking interest in it, and he's still very interested in it. Right when he wakes up, he used to just go on his tablet, and now he goes and checks on his produce. So I consider that a win. But I wanted to share this because when I talked to my mother the other day, she said, my mother was a teacher. She's a retired teacher. She taught her entire career until retirement, and my sister is also an elementary school teacher. As far as I know, maybe she's not anymore, I don't know. But at least she was the last time I know. Anyway, so my mother said, well, is he in speech therapy? And it irked the fuck out of me, because with autistic kids, that's a winter melon, baby, and they are not available where we live. They grow in Asia. Winter melon and white radish are very rare. I've had to look this up. And I think that's the cool thing about the internet too, is that when he does show interest, if it's something I don't know about, I can look it up and learn quick and share the information. But what irked me about this conversation with my mother was that, most conversations do, but it, at this point, but it bugged me because there's just this expectation placed on him, which unschooling is not about. Unschooling is about exploring, it's about education, through play, through exploration, through experience, right? Which is the same premise I use for the ambulance. This is the premise that I was taught in my master's degree level at Prescott College. Experiential education, learning through experience. And as an autistic person myself, which I didn't know, I was on the spectrum until my son was born, right? Until we've been on this journey, well, not even born, until he was 2. Then I realized that I am also on the spectrum, right? And experiential education was really, 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 really good for me. I had never gotten, hey, I'm using that light. I had never had those high of grades. I had almost a 4.0. I had 1B in my master's program. But for me, experience works, right? And so that's how I'm raising him, because we have ADHD. I don't want to medicate that out of him. I don't want to medicate his personality out of him at this point in time. And I wanted to just get on here and share, because even as the teacher gave all of those donations the other day, I was looking through everything, and I'm like, so unschooling is not linear compared to regular public school, which is why the speech therapy annoyed me, because Niall is very communicative. I have a bachelor's degree. My bachelor's is in communication, so I had to actually take courses in my undergrad to learn about nonverbal communication, interpersonal communication, intercultural communication, organizational communication. I have a bachelor's in communication. I don't need my son to talk. We can communicate without language. And so for people to come from outside and place these expectations on him, it's unfair. It's unfair for him and me. And, you know, we don't have insurance anymore. This administration is going after autistic kids. So there are certain things that us parents have to navigate to ensure our child's well-being, right? And safety. And this is one of them. So I wanted to get on here, not because I feel like I need to explain myself, but because I feel like in this time, I think that society needs change, right? I think all of us can agree on that. And I feel like unschooling is a really great way to let children continue to be children, like not suck their souls out, right? And I think that there's this an acknowledgement that's becoming more mainstream as well, that public schooling is preparation for a 9-to-5 workforce, for a career, for joining the capitalist system. And I think that the way I'm raising my son is to be a leader, is to be able to think and problem solve and critically think. And I was thinking about this last night with this speech therapy. Like, Niall knows how to cut food with a real knife. He knows how to use a drill. He knows how to do a lot of things that kids his age don't know how to do. And also, he doesn't have skills that other kids his age have, because I'm not requiring him to have those skills at this point in time. If we can find a line of communication, that's fine with me. Lots of autistic kids find their speech later on in life. And there are different developmental goals. Now, as a person who exists outside of the system, if you're on my channel, you know we do decolonizing over here. Niall has attended college classes, because when I teach college classes, he is with me. I don't leave my son with anyone at this point in time. I would like to. I'm trying to find people I trust. I think that's going to be coming up this coming year. I think we're going to have more of a village and more community and more safe people. But first, we've had to let go of all of the toxicity, all of the bad people. I've had to regain my trust in humanity, quite frankly. And I don't even think I'm all the way there yet. I'm still very fearful. But I've had a lot of really great interactions this past few days in my community. And I think that we're finally, I feel like I'm finally getting to a point of being more out in the world. I mean, it is cold, so maybe not right now. But I think this coming year, we're going to have a lot more... we're going to be a little bit more extroverted, which I think will be good for Niall. But he is only 6, so I'm not requiring these things. He knows his numbers, he knows his colors, he knows his letters, he knows all of those things. But he is also autistic, so there are some things that he will not be doing like everyone else, and that's okay too. I think the premise about unschooling being child-led is, you know, children are curious. They want to know. And when you take that out of, when you take the pressure of learning out of life, and just experience life as like one giant learning opportunity, right? Every day we learn something new. I think it's definitely a mindset shift. It's a certain level I've had to decolonize from all of that. And so that's why it's unhelpful to talk to people who continue to place those expectations on him. It makes me feel bad, and it also is unnecessary. Did that one die? Here, you can have mine. I'll charge this. Good job. I'll charge this one. I love these little lamps. I got these from Amazon, and I want to get more because they're really good. They charge with a C charger. I know it just got dark, but I don't want him to freak out. So his solar system stuff should be here later. Look how cute these are. They're just like little. It came in 3 pieces, the bottom, this, and then they just charge right there. And they have 3 settings. Touch light. I like them a lot. I was looking at them on Amazon. I'm disappointed with how expensive they are right now. When I bought them, I had school money, so I'm gonna wait until I have school money again. But I feel like European settler holding this like this. I don't know. I don't know if this is helpful for folks. I don't know. I just feel like these are things I've been thinking about the past few days. I don't think it's fair for people to place expectations on children. I have my own expectations with him as far as like being respectful, right? You guys have witnessed that many times. But as far as like black and white, you need to know this at this age. Yeah, we don't do it like that over here. And I don't have a problem with it, you know? I think, again, life is a learning journey all on its own. And when you take away all of those, like, I feel like I'm thinking of like a maze, like a little mouse maze, and you take away, like certain walls and you make new pathways. That's kind of what this process is. It's like allowing him to guide, because again, he's obsessed with produce right now. I put a video on, I don't know if I shared this, I put a video on of this one guy, I don't know, I put a video on his tablet the other day, and I just typed in like grocery store, right, because he's setting up his own produce section. That's kind of what he's doing. So I put that on, so he had like this like grocery store ambiance, right? And then I come back out and he had put on an entire video about like the manufacturing and distribution and like how like the logistics around grocery stores, right? So he was like watching like the semi trucks, and we went on a walk to the grocery store a couple weeks ago, and I showed him that because one of the trucks was there. And so it's just like every moment is a moment to learn, and that's how we approach education. It's not, these are your expectations and you must get them by this time. Eventually, he's probably going to get frustrated enough to figure out speech. Eventually, he's going to want to explore this, and this, right? And so it's just, a lot of people who don't unschool believe that it's a very negligent practice. And it can be. People can say that they're doing it and then like don't do anything. My thing, again, is this was the kind of education I had at a master's degree level. Okay, think about that, at a master's level. And that's, okay, there's only one degree after that. So if this was beneficial to me at a master's degree level, then I couldn't even start to comprehend the freedom that I would have had as a child. Like, I hated tests. We don't have to do tests. That's why I chose the master's program that I did, because there was no entry test to take. It was between that or a school in Colorado. In Colorado school, you had to take an entry exam. I said, I'm not doing that. I went to Prescott, and it changed my life, right? So I just want to share, I think that what I said earlier about society needing to change, I feel like we are the only ones. I just did a reading this morning about taking control of your life, and I think as parents especially, I think if you're starting to peep the red flags about where this administration is kind of, it feels like we're in a slow moving vehicle coming up on a cliff, right, as an entire collective. So if you're feeling like you would like to change the way that you are educating your children, pull them out, or if you're nervous about homeschooling doesn't need to replicate public school, and a lot of people do that, right, to each their own. Like, we definitely have aspects of regular school as well, but he's not ready for that. He's still 6 and on the spectrum, so play, exploration is a much better way for him to learn. We've been doing a lot of nature walks. like I said, when we walked to the grocery store, one of the semis was there, so I like let him peek in, and I explained to him, like, you know, like when we're on the highway, you see all these trucks, and I think when we learn this way as children, or we allow our children to learn this way, you don't have to relearn it later on, right? Oh, it's just going to become a fact, right? Instead of, you know, having to do all of these, meet all of these different criteria points. And that's something his dad kept saying while he was here, which was interesting language that he's never used with me, but he kept challenging me and saying, what measurements are you using? What measurements are you using? And if you're on my channel, I talk about quantifying a lot of the time. I'm completely against quantification. I don't see it necessary. Nature doesn't quantify, right? So quantification is like the number aspect, right? Like, I mean, if you think about medical field with quantification, everything is quantified. And I have a lot of beef with the medical field. But think about schooling as well. Like these state mandated tests and shit, and that you have to fill in the bubbles. All of that equals quantification. So it's taking away the personality or characteristics of the child, the skills, the passions that they have, and it's putting them in a box with a number. And so when his dad kept saying that to me, I was like, he said it several times when we were arguing. And I'm not gonna argue with this motherfucker anymore. Like, I already decided that. I spent one argument with him, and then I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. But that's what he kept saying, and it really irritated me, because as someone who claims to be a revolutionary, the man is not at all, right? And I mean, that's my own personal thing with him. But I think quantification is really harmful. Again, we don't need everything to have a number, but within a capitalist society, numbers gain importance when everything else has numbers applied to it, right? So it's just something interesting to think about. But yeah, I just wanted to share. I sometimes feel like we're behind. There's indigenous people, I believe it's the Maori people of Australia, that have a saying about autism. I could be wrong though, but I think it is about autism, meaning in their language, like in their own time. And that's what I'm trying to provide my child. It's not like he just sits around and does nothing. Even if he is on his tablet, he's constantly learning. It just looks very different than the rigidity of public schooling and quantifying skills. So I hope this helps. I hope that if you want to take your child out, I highly recommend it. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of finding balance. But, you know, even before Niall, we knew Niall had autism. Homeschooling was always in my trajectory as a mother. And it's one of the defining reasons that I moved to Arizona from California. I mean, besides everything else. But the mandates around homeschooling in California are ridiculous. And Arizona has very relaxed homeschooling laws, as well as the empowerment scholarship. And it's a really great program for us. So some of the things I'm going to get him this next time, I don't know if I shared this yet, I'm going to be getting him when we get our next check for his scholarship. It should be coming in January, I would assume. We are going to do a 3D printer. They're about $150, and I'm also going to be getting him a laptop that he can grow into, but he's very curious about them. And he has like a little, you know, it's not a Fisher Price, but he has a little laptop, and sometimes when I'm using mine, he'll pull his out. So you can get laptops for like $100 or so. So we're gonna go ahead and get him that. He does use emojis to communicate as well. And I was thinking about that last night too, because I was watching Xenon a couple weeks ago, and I had completely forgot. Okay, so before, if you're younger than millennials, we had fonts that were kind of our emojis, and they were webdings and wingdings within word programming. And on Xenon, when she's trying to get into the program, it's all webdings, and I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot about those. Like, so they're like symbols, but then like emojis were born in the, you know, I think emojis came out in like 2016 or so. It really wasn't that long ago for like everybody. You know, some iPhone users had them earlier, but um so again, those are all different ways of communication, and I think with technology too, Niall, I'm definitely incorporating technology into his education because, especially as someone who can't communicate like everyone else, by the time he's my age, technology is going to be completely different. So I want him to be able to explore that. And with his tablet, he communicates effectively all the time. And a lot of kids have those communication tablets that they get, but those are like thousands of dollars. Like, you can just get an extra tablet. If you're an autism parent, something I would recommend is to just get an extra tablet, and you can download the same communication programs. There's free apps that you can use that are the exact same as those medically, what's the word? Medically referred tablets, the communication devices. Like, we break tablets a lot, so I would rather pay $40 for a tablet than have an insurance spend $2,000 on something when you can just download the same shit, right? So all this to say is, give yourself permission to navigate this however it is you choose, and don't allow people to make you second guess that, I guess, is the point of this. Thanks for listening. That was a lot of words. Have a good one.